Yes. Um, I'm like looking for the X. Watch it be behind this. Yeah, so we figured out how to do that, and I don't know how it's gonna work for this specifically because we found it out for Cooking Diary, but I kind of a big part of this experience is being able to know that I'm here, like a part of this with you, regardless of if you truly care or not. Because it's not a voiceover, obviously, it's happening right now. But I like that you're able to see me because I live my life in the public eye. However, like I said, I do like my privacy at the same time. But if I'm giving you something, I want you to have something, not just a piece of it. Unless literally, I'm like, you can have some of my hot Cheetos. You can have a piece of my donut. You can, and all of that. But that's neither here nor there. Hold on. It's funny, I spoke about a donut, and then all of a sudden, I'm mad hungry right now. I've been wanting to show you guys this outfit for a cool minute now. But, the last time I wore it, I was on my period, and I'm surprised that we look like a bad bitch every day because we don't always feel like one, for sure. And sometimes we really be having some type of wardrobe malfunction. And I'm just like, why you gotta be so rough with me, Lord? All right, yeah, we'll do that. Let's see. All right, let's hurry up because the bus gave me a full 20 minutes to not be here because we missed it as we got here. So, are we on this one? Y'all, I'm sorry. Hold on. Yeah, because we read that one in person. I just don't remember reading it on here. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Samaria and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad. Ooh. I was going to be like, what if it's not recording? Because I didn't hit it right there. I hit it from the actual app. Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine and all that I have. And the messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver, and thy gold, and thy wives, and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house, and the houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thine eyes, they shall put it in their hand and take it away. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief. For he sent unto me for my wives and for my children, and for my silver and for my gold, and I denied him not. And all the elders and all the people said unto him, Hearken not unto him, nor consent. Wherefore he said unto the messengers of Ben-Hadad, Tell my lord the king all that thou didst send for to thy servant. At the first I will do, but this thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. And Ben-Hadad sent unto him and said, The gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Israel answered and said, I was just thinking, how good I feel right now reading the Bible. Like, I feel really good. I felt really happy. And I was like, I'll let them know that after I get finished reading this. And then, like, something touches my lip. And I'm like, this is not acceptable. So I ended up having the conversation now. Hold on. I'm going to read that again. And Ben-Hadad sent unto him and said, the gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Israel answered and said, tell him, let not him that girdeth on his harness boast himself as he that putteth it off. And it came to pass, when Ben-Hadad heard this message as he was drinking, he and the kings in the pavilions, that he said unto his servants, set yourselves in array. And they set themselves in array against the city. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, thus saith the Lord, hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, by whom? And he said, thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces. Then he said, who shall order the battle? And he answered, thou. Then he numbered the young men of the princes of the provinces, and they were 232. And after them he numbered all the people, even all the children of Israel, being 7,000. And they went out at noon, but Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions, he and the kings, the 32 kings that helped him. And the young men of the young men of the princes of the provinces went out first. And Ben-Hadad sent out, and they told him, saying, there are men come out of Samaria. Said, whether they be come out for peace, take them alive, or whether they be come out for war, take them alive. So these young men of the princes of the provinces came out of the city, and the army which followed them. And they slew every one his man, and the Syrians fled. And Israel pursued them, and Ben-Hadad the king of Syria escaped on an horse with the horsemen. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots, and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, go strengthen thyself, and mark and see what thou doest, for at the return of the year the king of Syria will come up against thee. And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, their gods are gods of the hills, therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And do this thing, take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their rooms. And number thee an army, like the army that thou hast lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot. And we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice, and did so. And it came to pass at the return of the year that Ben-Hadad numbered the Syrians and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. And the children of Israel were numbered and were all present, and went against them. And the children of Israel pitched before them like two little flocks of kids, but the Syrians filled the country. And there came a man of God and spake unto the king of Israel, and said, thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, the Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude in thy hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days. And so it was that in the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew of the Syrians 100,000 footmen in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. And Ben-Hadad fled, and came into the city into an inner chamber. And his servants said unto him, behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel... I hate when vehicles be making bus sounds. Stop that. And his servants said unto him, Behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us, I pray thee, put sackcloth on our loins and ropes upon our heads, and go out to the king of Israel. Peradventure he will save thy life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Israel and said, Thy servant Benhadad saith, I pray thee, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the men did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. And they said, Thy brother Benhadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Benhadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up into the chariot. And Benhadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from thy father I will restore, and thou shalt make streets for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him, and sent him away. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor in the word of the Lord, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused to smite him. Then said he unto him, Because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. Then he found another man and said, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man smote him, so that in smiting he wounded him. So the prophet departed and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king and said, And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king, and he said, Thy servant went out into the midst of the battle, and behold, a man turned aside and brought a man unto me, and said, Keep this man, if by any means he be missing. Then shall thy life be for his life, or else thou shalt pay a talent of silver. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said unto him, So shall thy judgment be, thyself hast decided it. And he hasted and took the ashes away from his face. And the king of Israel discerned him that he was of the prophets. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, Because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Samaria. I am tired of this game. It has many different names at this point, and all the acting in the ads are absolutely horrendous, even for cringy acting. Like, you have to be good at acting bad on purpose, consistently. I don't care if that's the point. I hate it. It's terrible. It's actually disgusting. The thought that came before terrible really was disgusting. Like, it disgusts me. Like, I hate it when people make things that are just trash for all reasons. Like, there's one thing, like, if you're doing something and you genuinely like it, but, like, you can tell by these ads that they're not trying, and they're not trying so hard. Which means that they're trying so hard not to try, and it's just trash. And the game's not even good. The game also has nothing to do with the animated ads that they do. I get upset with ads. I really do. I hate false advertising. I hate when things don't make sense when they're supposed to. Like, even things that don't make sense make sense. Praise the Lord. Anyway, And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab king of Samaria. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. And I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it, or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread. But Jezebel his wife came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the Okay. Thank you, praise the Lord. And she wrote in the letter, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and then carry him out and stone him that he may die. I'll speak on this in a minute. And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which he had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in 2 men, children of Belial, and sat before him, and the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. Then they carried him forth out of the city, and stoned him with stones, that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. For Naboth is not alive, but dead. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed, and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him. This bus was going to pass me up. It was creeping like... Hold on. Thank you. Where's the speaker? Okay. We'll just read this part over again. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed, and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, excuse me. Thus saith the Lord, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. And behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. All future generations of people. That's interesting, because I didn't know that's what that meant, but I felt it. But I was thinking just like fertility. Which doesn't make sense because he's going to kill him. Well, it made sense in my head. And he will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things, as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted and lay in sackcloth and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. That's a lot to think about, but it's a lot to talk about, if anything. And I really want to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it. So we were talking about how in the other, let's just go back for reference in general. That's perfectly fine. Hold on. I don't know if it was something that really stirred my mind, my brain here. It was more of a feeling of, like I said, like I felt really good reading the Bible in general. Like it felt really good. I felt happy, and I wanted to talk about it after this one, but I had spoken about it. But I wanted to explain because in the beginning I said something about donuts, and immediately my stomach just went like I was hungry, right? And I've mentioned a lot that we do fast and stuff, but right now we're not fasting, and that is really why my stomach's like, so you're gonna eat, right? So that's where we're on our way to obtaining food right now. We'll see how that ends up going, but whatever. The main point of what I'm talking about is that you really can feed yourself with the Spirit of the Lord, and that does come from the way that is more adequate for you to receive the Spirit of the Lord. You can read the Bible. Reading the words of the Bible really is like food for me. So when I said it feels like home, that's what I meant. Like it's feeding my soul. And it's not just feeding my soul, and I'm, like, there are certain passages and stuff that don't really feel the same because I don't care about them, but like I understand them. I always gain understanding from reading the words of the Bible, even though I don't always understand why people would want to be like they are. But at the same time, I have to understand, like, this is how we are so open-minded, is because we have to make sure we understand a lot of things while we're paying attention to one or multiple things at the same time. So like the Bible itself like really does feed my soul in multiple different ways. And yes, that is how we end up not eating so much, is because we can feed ourselves with our with our soul, like literally, quite literally. It's like receiving more of myself, and makes even more sense because we are who we are, right? And then that being said, the balance of things is I still eat just as much as I normally do because I love it. Like I highly enjoy it, and there's something that makes me feel so good about being a part of the presence of the situation in general. Like that's just how I live my life. I'm very passionate about all the things that we do. So when we read the Bible and we have everything that we need, it just feels even greater. So moving on to the next part of the story, we're going to talk about Jezebel in this one. And notice how in the beginning, like the character, I forgot what his name was because he died. Oh, Naboth. I'm like looking right at it. Naboth, he died because he said no to the king, I suppose. That's who Ahab is. And, he said no because of the Lord. So we're just going to assume that Naboth died and went to heaven for, not fearing man, fearing God himself, right? And then in the end, karma was given to Ahab through the Lord by speaking about the situation in general. Like he was waiting for it to happen because he knew it was going to happen. And Jezebel herself, you can get the energy off of the names of the people as well. Like, I know not all Jezebels are bad, but like in these cases, you just know that that's just what's going to happen. Like it's the energy of it. Jezebel, I think, green and envious. I think not a very good person. And I don't think of, I don't really know any Jezebels, but I'm pretty sure that maybe we should do some type. I don't want to ruin people's names for them because, the name really does decide who you are, especially if you choose to, be that person. But there's good things about these people, too. Very influential, obviously. And, Ahab kind of just gave me the vibe of, I'll do whatever my wife tells me to do. And so she decided to be a bad influence, a distorted feminine energy towards the whole place by saying, this is what we're going to do. This is not providing for your family, because in the real aspect of it all, mama bears really are more of like, I'm going to do what I need to do when it's time for me to, need to do it. And my husband is in some type of disarray because of this situation. So I'm going to, do something about it because I am a queen. You know what I mean? Like that whole backup right there could definitely be said as a good thing, but only if you use it in good ways. And that is why being a wife is so important, but more so being a divine counterpart to whoever it is that you are being a counterpart to, being the best of yourself in certain situations. If my significant other came home and said, I tried to go and buy this vineyard today and it didn't work out for the said reasons that we're in here, right? I would be like, you have one. And I also understood his plight. He said it's closer to his house. Okay, you're a king. What is the point here? We can just get another one. Boy, if you don't eat, like it's one thing to stand up for your family, but it's another for you to do things that you know are not going to benefit you, especially because he should have really passed on why. Like, he just wanted to seem like the victim in general, like passed on why, he said that he wouldn't give it to him. He said the Lord said no. Like, I don't know who you're trying to fight here, but they brought that on themselves. And the whole point of what we're talking about right now is really shedding light on the importance of divine feminine energy. Because if she hadn't decided upon herself that she was going to be a bad influence on herself and on the situation, it wouldn't have happened the way it did, even though most of the time it seems as if women didn't have power back in the day. And that is why they ended up having that type of power. We have so much influence. And I do say influence in general. Like I am a female in this lifetime. But I've had to operate in my masculine energy for a good half of my life. So I can understand, like certain situations and how you ain't gonna let nobody tell you what to do, but you still gonna do it. But it works out in the end because, good intentions. But sometimes it doesn't always work out in the end. But it's like knowing these things about yourself and being a good influence on the household. But there's a lot of people that I'm seeing online that really, they're really kind of picking up this whole, like, people are still doing things like this. People are still doing things that really check yourself, and then, like, why are you doing this when you know that that's not what you're supposed to be doing? Like, it's such a petty matter. But at the same time, I understand because, it's all in the vibration of where you're at. If it's a big deal, it's a big deal. So I guess in general, if your heart is good, you won't have to go through these things. But not if your heart is good. We all have the ability to learn what we're supposed to be doing. So I guess that's the end of what we had to say. Let's see what this ag on the site. What God has for you is for you. Trust His timing, trust His plan. That's kind of like a cherry on top of what I just said, even though it hit me in multiple different ways because obvious reasons. We're all still waiting for certain things. But yeah. And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. And it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth and Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria. And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am so thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses. So that we have enough space. I gotta delete something. Cool. Another kiss, and you'll be mine, running down the line. It does matter. I don't know how even it is because the picture looks uneven to begin with. Because it froze. That's why. But it's still recording, so let's see how it goes. Like, Rose phone. Well, might as well just wait now. Do I just take it off now? We'll do this. It worked out. I'm really trying to figure this out. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth in Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria. Okay. And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay. Which sucks because we're gonna get to see some cats. I haven't went on this walk in a cool minute. Let me see if I can bring this back. Let's see how this goes. Tools. Camera. I have a rock in my shoe. I don't like that. Recording. Okay. It was worth it. Alright, now if the brightness can go up naturally. Nope, just kidding. Where are we at? I cannot see. How is it 7:56 already? What in daggone it? So now I have to actually work for this. Praise the Lord. And okay. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom, I have to burp again, it hurts, by whom we may inquire of the Lord, but I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. The king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah the son of Imlah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, thank you, Lord, having put on their robes in a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria, and all the prophets prophesied before them. I have to check my outfit when I go to walls that are shiny. It makes sense. I was trying to figure out what the right word is. Yes, I'm very vain. I'm here to be so. And where are we at? And the king of Israel, Jehoshaphat, that's not where we're at. And Zedekiah, the son of Shaniah, made him horns of iron. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, With these shalt thou push the Syrians until thou have consumed them. There we go. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord. Sorry, I do have to pay attention where I'm walking to. Normally it's really not this difficult. But like I said, I haven't been walking like this and reading for a while. But no, straight up walking and reading in general is a talent. Also, I'm not pushing the button to walk across the street. The Lord's just giving me green lights. So I do have to pay attention, because sometimes people don't care if you're walking if you don't push the button, or the light don't care that you're walking, because for obvious reasons, obvious mechanical reasons. And I can't slow down because I do have to make it before 8 to even see if they're giving out food today, because this is the place that hasn't been giving out food for a minute. But I think they were. in between the time that I wasn't here, but I haven't been here for a month because I haven't been taking the buses. Y'all have been part of that. Y'all know, right? Y'all know. Like, now we're a team. I don't see why not, but like at the same time, I don't know. We'll talk more about that at some point too. When you're too authentic and you need to explain every breath you take. It's true. That's why we're here. Where are we at? And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, go up to Ramoth Gilead and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the king's hand. And the messenger that was gone to Micaiah spake unto him, saying, behold, now the words of the prophets declare good unto the king with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like. Can I ask, what in the world? I feel like I need to scope out the situation. I want you to see the cats though. Hold on. When this video really does stop being about... There you are. It never stops being about God. But they don't have the table out like they usually do. And there are people standing around. So maybe they'll know something. Because, like, I'm really not trying to, like, pop up all the time and not have to pop up for any reason whatsoever. Oh yeah, these people work here, so let's see how it works out. I didn't expect to see the people that work here if there wasn't nothing happening. Let's see how it goes. How long is this passage? Praise the Lord? Oh. And I don't even remember where we're at. That's the worst part. Yeah, I'm gonna just have to ask him. I know he ain't running away. Question.
How you doing?
Do you need to talk to him before he leaves?
No.
Oh. Yeah, I have a question.
Opening up. I see a sign up there saying the 16th of this month. So just come back on the 16th and check us out.
On the 16th?
Yeah, 16th. Good morning, ladies.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's when we, I guess, gonna open up. I'm not sure.
I've been calling. That's why I'm just like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah, just keep calling, okay?
Okay.
But either on the 16th or after the 16th of this month.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right. I can't remember. I remember what we were talking about in the book. However, quite literally, and yeah, no, I think I went too far down. There we go. This works out better. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put on their... No. Now I'm irritated. Just because of that, and because I can't find where we're at now. So we're going to start this part. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, there is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. But I hate him, for he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, hasten hither Micaiah, the son of Imlah. Praise the Lord. Thank you, God. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, sat each on his throne, having put on their robes, and a void place in the entrance of the gate of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, the son of Shaniah, made him horns of iron, and he said,